I'm just looking at the title of our slide at the moment, Walk in the Way of Love. And I'm preaching from Ephesians chapter 5, verse 2. If you want to turn in your Bibles there. But I'm thinking like how ironic to be talking to Life Church about loving, because you guys do it so well. And I think that a lot of churches and a lot of people could learn a lot about love from how you guys do it. And this morning I was thinking about that and how ironic that I'd be bringing to you a message on love. And I was drawn to 1 Thessalonians 4. It's not in the on the slides or anything. And he says in 1 Thessalonians 4:1, as for other matters, brothers and sisters, we instructed you on how to live in order to please God, as in fact you are living. Now we ask you and urge you in the Lord Jesus to do this more and more. So that's really the point of why I'm here, is just to urge you and ask you to keep loving and doing it more and more and more. So so thanks for being here today. This is a nice short book on marriage, because I didn't want to write one that I wouldn't be prepared to read as an Australian male. So I wanted to write one super short, but as much wisdom that I could jam into this. And so we're going to obviously do the workshop later on next month. But if you're married and you would like a copy of this, here's the promise before you have to put up your hand. You have to read it, and then you have to give it away. This is the promise. Who wants a copy? Who's going to do that? All right. Okay, I can only throw this so far. All right, here we go. The lady just behind you over here. Yes, on the table here. There you go. Yep, you got it. It's all yours. Yeah, put your hands together for her. Awesome. You'll be surprised. There's only 104 pages. There you go. So that's a book that I would like to read. One that's nice and short, punchy, and punches me in the face not too many times. Well, we're Darren and Beck, as you've heard, and we have 4 kids. We've been married for 27 years, and we're happy most of the time. I think it's fairly unrealistic to think that even someone who'd write a book as called The Happy Marriage would have a happy marriage all the time. That's unrealistic expectations. That's part 2 of the book. Anyway, if you want to dive into that, we've been pastoring at Victory in lots of different capacities for about 23 years. And I was just thinking there's so much history in the room with Rick and Sue and Mon and Pete. And there's just some beautiful history and tapestry from the kingdom in the room. And we love you guys, and we champion you and all that you do. It's such a beautiful expression of the kingdom right here. I love that you're around tables for your Sunday service. It's so great. We love marriage. We like being married, again, most of the time. And we value speaking into and encouraging health in marriages, because I think a healthy marriage is going to be happy most of the time. If you're healthy, don't focus on happiness, focus on health, and happiness will be a bit of a byproduct of that. So today, I just want to talk a little bit about how love works in relationships. And this won't just be about marriage. I'll have a few marriage examples, of course. But this is going to work in every relationship. This is going to help in your family, in your workplace. This will help in your marriage. This will help in friendship, in your church family as well. I think, the Bible talks a lot about love. A lot about love. Jesus says that the world will know that you're my disciples when you love one another. So it's really important that we keep growing and learning how to do love really, really well. But who knows that love is really, really hard sometimes, because I'm lazy and I'm selfish and I think about me all the time, and love is really about operating in a way that blesses and benefits the other person. But it's really, really hard to do sometimes. But marriage and singleness are both incredible gifts from God. We would celebrate, we like, as Beck said, we like to celebrate both. Marriage is a gift, and singleness is a gift. And if you're all Old Testament, you'll think that you just have to get married, and that's the main thing. And if you're all New Testament, you'll just think that you have to stay single, and that's probably the main thing. So I love how the Bible is quite balanced in there as well. So again, today, the passage is not specific to marriage, but it does form part of the context of the biggest passage of marriage, which is in Ephesians chapter 5. Cool. All right, so I'm going to read Ephesians 5, verse 2. I'm in the NIV, and we're just going to read one verse. Is that all right? Cool. It says, Ephesians 5, 2, and walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. Maybe I should pray. That's a good idea. Let's maybe pray, because we're just talking about love right now, and we're going to need some help. God, we just thank you for your word. I thank you for this awesome community of faith right here. I pray incredible blessing that would continue to flow to Life Church and from Life Church and Soul Hub into the community. And today we just want to pray that you'd help us to glean something from your word, something from your spirit, so that we can love more and we can love well. In Jesus' name. And everyone said, Amen. Awesome. Walk in the way of love. This is really hard to do sometimes, because the word love here is not just any form of love. It's not love how you like it. It's agape love. Walk around, and he's just talking about normal life here. Just walk around agapeing other people. Walk around considering others. Walk around living in service to others, being in sacrificial love to others. I love the description here, right? Walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us. Sacrifice is so inherent in how we love well. You know what I found is that sometimes I put conditions on my love for people. And sometimes those conditions are not even what I would expect of myself. Sometimes people have to meet certain conditions for me to reach out and love them, and I wouldn't even have that as an expectation for me. So why would I have it for other people? We just need to not put crazy conditions on our love sometimes. We got a puppy about 2 years ago. About then. It was in the middle of winter, and we got this beautiful little crazy. If you could think about a dog that should be in an insane asylum, this is the dog for you. She should have come with a straitjacket, I think, definitely. And her name is Daisy. We changed her name. We didn't like what it was before, so we changed it. It's worked out all right. And as we got her at 5 months old, and she has some medical conditions. She's a bit of a problem, but the good thing is that she can't bark. So really happy with that. She got pneumonia when she was 3 weeks old, and her voice box doesn't work. And so I think that's a blessing from the Lord, to be completely honest. So we have some glass sliding doors at the back of our house, and she sits at the back there and she barks, but no one can hear her. It's quite wonderful. It's a little bit like this. And so I'll be like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. To this poor dog. Anyway, when we'd had her for a couple of weeks, she didn't really know how things work, and so she got so excited. She was sitting at the back door waiting for someone to let her in. This is a normal work day, a normal school day, and so she didn't want to leave the veranda, so she just did her business, like right next to where she was sitting, and then she's, at the door. Anyway, so my son mustn't have seen what had happened, and he has opened the door, and in her excitement, she has stepped all into her stuff and then walked or ran, really, through the house, bringing the beautiful aroma of a number 2 all the way through the house. And I remember coming out and into the lounge room, and I was assaulted in my senses by this thing. And I'm like, what is going on? Get these dogs out of here. So here's me at 7 a.m. mopping half my house. It's a school morning. And we're mopping half the house, and hosing down the veranda, early morning. But it did get me thinking a while later, is that sometimes that's what we do in our relationships. We don't walk in the way of love sometimes. Sometimes we just walk all of our stuff into other people's lives. We actually just bring all of our dysfunction, all of our hurts, all of our fears, all of our stuff. We're just trampling those into other people's lives sometimes, myself included. Sometimes that's what I do. So the question I want to try and answer a little bit today is, well, how then do we love well? What does it mean? Every time I do a wedding, I've done about 140 weddings. I love doing weddings. I don't like doing funerals. I've only done 4 of those. There's a good contrast there, a good ratio, I think. 140 to 4. But every time I do a wedding, I'll be like, I challenge you to love well. I challenge you to love deeply. I challenge you to love well. So how do we do this when it comes to our marriages, to our relationships, to our church family? How do we do this? Well, if you're writing notes, write this one down. And this is number 1. Love is connection focused. This whole workshop that we're going to run next month, it'll really be doing a deep dive on the first part of the book, which is about how do we stay connected in our hearts. How do we stay connected in our hearts? I love Danny Lee Silk's book, Keep Your Love On. Has anyone read that one? Keep Your Love On, a big light bulb on the front. Really great. He talks about how a love means moving towards. Love is moving towards another person. You know when you're hurt and offended and you want to withdraw? And you're like, nah, she said this, blah, blah, blah. You know, men are classics at this. We'll be like, I don't want to engage in that, so where's my man cave? I'm going into the man cave right now, and I'm not going to talk about this. Oh, we all can withdraw, I know, not just the men. Not trying to pick on you, even though I am one, right? But like, love means moving towards. Love means reaching out. So now when we talk about connection, what do we mean? Well, we often mean, like, imagine when you were, who's married in the room, right? Okay, got quite a few of you. Remember when you were first dating? And every moment in time was with that person. You were hanging out so much that your friends got a little bit of vomit in their mouths sometimes because you're it was a bit much. It was a bit much for them. You know, and you would share all of your hopes and dreams and everything, you know. It was all of the time was spent with them. You know, when we first got together, Beck would be like, let's go shopping. And I'm like, let's go shopping. I love shopping. And we would go shopping. And then a few years down the track, she's like, you don't shop with me anymore. And I'm like, that's because I hate shopping. Right? I just wanted to be with her whatever we were doing. Who cares what it is? I just want to be with you. But over time, this focus on connection just kind of drops off. It wanes over time. Like when we first got together, we'd been together for about 8 weeks, and Beck's family moved to within a 3-minute walk from my house. And I'm like, oh boy, this is make or break. I'd never had a relationship last beyond 2 weeks at that stage. And I'm like, we're kind of doomed, actually. But that actually meant we could spend more time together because Beck would come home from work and there's Darren, the puppy dog, on the front doorstep waiting. Oh, she's home. Hi, I'm here. I'm sure she rolled her eyes in the car a few times. I don't know. But you see, in the early days of a romantic relationship, your connection level is very high. You're very intentional. You're very focused. You're wanting to spend all the time with that person. And when you feel close to someone, everything's a bit easier with them. Hard conversations and hard moments are easier when you feel close and connected. We say that connection is like oil. Like everything flows better when there's oil. You know, there's less friction in your car. There's less like things getting stuck in your cooking if you use enough oil. And it's the same in a relationship. When you feel close and connected, there's oil flowing and everything flows a bit better. Like we would say, like, don't be afraid to start conversations in the shallow zone. I think shallow got a bad rap over the years. Shallow's a great place to start. Just don't live your entire relationship there, you know? But start shallow, that's okay. And then as you start and you're talking about the day and the weather and, you know, how do the Knights do over the weekend or whatever, right? You're actually, is that a bad thing to mention? Okay, great. Cool. Someone mentioned it earlier. I'll just keep mentioning it. I'll just keep talking about it. Okay, great. This is a way for us to get disconnected, right? We keep talking about that? All right. But when we connect, we're creating a sense of safety and security in the relationship. And then that opens up this beautiful place called vulnerability. And then we can start to share a little bit from our hearts with that person. And then over time, if we stay curious while the other person's being vulnerable, if we stay kind while the other person's being vulnerable, that opens up what we're created for, which is intimacy, emotional intimacy with a person. So walk in the way of love. Love is connection focused. Love reaches forwards and makes a connection. You know, that's what Jesus did for you and I. God is connection oriented. God wants a connection with you. In fact, that's why Jesus came to earth. He did through the resurrection, through the death and then the resurrection. Probably should get that in the right order. The death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. God made a way for you and I to connect with him. He made a way. He forgave our sin. He put that sin on that cross and he made a way for us to connect with God. God is connection oriented. He is connection focused. And that's why if we're walking in the way of agape, we're not simply focused on ourselves. This is the same love that God has for us. It's the same word that is used. Agape love is used for God's love for you, and it's used for the love that we should have for one another. Walk in the way of agape. Agape reaches out. Agape restores the connection. Maybe you've got a friend that you've lost touch with. Or maybe you haven't been intentional in that relationship. Maybe you should text them this week and just be like, hey, let's catch up for coffee. Let's actually set a date. I don't know how many people in my world, I'm like, yeah, we should do a thing. Let's do a thing together. It's going to be awesome. But you know when it really happens? When I get out my phone and we set a date on the calendar right then and there. Right? You know, maybe you need to reach out to your spouse and say, we're not as connected as we should be. I'm just feeling a bit disconnected at the moment. Can we carve out some time for us to debrief the day a little more often or go on a date? Can we get more intentional about being connected? This is a little tip for your marriage, by the way. Always start with connecting. Don't start with like logistics, and definitely don't start with a problem, right? In the morning, be like, hey, how you doing? How's your sleep? That's totally fine. It's okay to start like that. Don't start with logistics. Hey, good morning, wife. I need you to find our daughter's sports shorts because she can't find them anywhere, right? And then walk off. Well, don't start with a problem. That's going to go bad for you. That's going to go terribly for you, right? You know, like, hey, you didn't put the dishwasher on last night. I noticed you put the tab in the dishwasher. Super great, but please press start because all the bowls were in there and then I had to like wash up a bowl. You can see this has never, ever happened in my household, has it? But I don't start the day like that. I start the day with a coffee next to her bed and like, hey, babe, it's time to wake up. And then I leave her for a little while. And then I leave her for a little while, and then I come back and say, it's been 10 minutes, now it's time to get up. And then I leave it for a little while, and then once she's up, I'll say, hey, you didn't turn the dishwasher on again last night, just for the record. And she'll be like, oh, my bad, right? Right? Start with connection, start with kindness, start with some love. Don't start with a problem. That's going to get bad for you. Anyway, love is focused on protecting and building the connection that we have with people. That's what agape love looks like. And that applies to all relationships and friendships and community and this faith community here and your marriage as well. How much time have I got, Rick? It's counting down real fast. Okay, number 2, love is inconvenient. Yeah, there's a lot of people going, really? Do you have to go there? Okay. There's a lot of elements of love that are not very convenient. A lot of them, absolutely. It's not convenient to share with your spouse that you're hurt. It's not convenient to walk a friend through a grief journey. It's not convenient to repair a relationship in your family that's gone south. Love is inconvenient. I mean, this is the elements of a maturing love, isn't it? A maturing love is if I'm not feeling it, I'm still choosing it. I don't have to feel love to choose love, to act in love, to reach out in love, to forgive in love, to bless in love, to serve in love, to sacrifice in love. I don't have to feel it I just need to do it. Bible doesn't say, feel the love for your neighbor. It just says love your neighbor as yourself. All right? And one thing I found in this is sometimes I need to listen longer than I'm comfortable with. Anyone else check out of conversations halfway through? Anyone else? Don't put up your hand right now. Anyone else got a spouse that often gives you the long version of the story? Don't put up your hand. Oh, Rick, you're in dangerous territory here, my brother. The long version of the story. And Beck will be talking to me, and I'll be standing in the doorway. She'll be chatting with me, and I'll be, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And now it's halfway through the story, and I'm thinking of something. I'm going to make a sandwich, or there's something I got to fix somewhere. I'm going to find something to fix, And what I've discovered as I start playing with the keys in my pocket, I don't know if I'm trying to send some kind of, subtle signal. I'm very important. I have places to be, by the way. And and then I find myself edging out the door. I'm like, yeah, right. And then I have to hit myself and be like, Darren, what are you doing? Re-engage. And so I try and sometimes I don't do this. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, yes. And then what happened? And how does that make you feel? And then I need to pull up a chair because that's going to take a while, right? But we need to love and listen longer than we feel comfortable with sometimes. That's a little one. That's a nice, easy one for you. What else is hard and inconvenient? Forgiveness and repair. That's a tough one. I'm a bit superficial sometimes, and my mum didn't text me back after 3 days a few weeks ago. I'm like, hey, Mum, blah, 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 blah. And normally she's pretty good, and it was a few days, and I'm like, whatever. Well, I guess you're not getting back to me. I guess this relationship is over. No, I wasn't thinking that. Let's get dramatic for the sake of it, because Darren would never do that, right? No, of course not, right? But I'm like, why isn't Mum responding? This is crazy. But that's a very mild example. But sometimes in our relationships, we do get hurt. We get offended. And we withdraw, and we push people away because we're not prepared to forgive sometimes, and we're not prepared to repair and reach back out to the person and repair the relationship. I love the idea of keeping short accounts. Like we used to say in our marriage a lot years ago, say ouch quickly. Don't let it sit there and don't let it fester. If you can't forgive and have grace for that thing quickly, then you need to talk about it quickly. Keep short accounts. Don't let it sit under the surface. And another big area of inconvenience that I've found, I've already mentioned it, it's inherent in this idea of marriage, and it's inherent in the idea of agape love. And that is the idea of sacrifice. Sacrifice is one of the deepest forms of genuine love that you can have. Jesus talks about it. No greater love than to give up your life for your friend. To sacrifice for someone is an enormous act of love. And right here it is as well. And walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us. The willingness to lay down what I want to bless somebody else, to benefit somebody else. I'm going to lay down my time. I'm going to lay down my energy. I'm going to lay down my preference in order to serve and love another person. Love is sacrificial. And I talk about sacrifice in marriage sometimes, and people of the world are just like, what? That's not how it works, mate. You got to think about yourself. You got to put yourself first. Love is about you. I'm like, no, you've got it wrong. Love is about service. Love is about the other person. What are they feeling? How does your wife feel when you talk like that? I don't want a modern marriage. I want a kingdom marriage. I want a kingdom church. I want kingdom friendships. I want a kingdom family. Sacrifice is normal in marriage, and here's the deal for you. Husbands go first. You're like, oh man, it just got quiet right now. So quiet in here. This is the quietest you've been all morning. I'll prove it to you. Ephesians 5 verse 25 says, husbands, love your wives. Ooh, and here it is again. Just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Husbands, you go first. I'll just leave that there. All the husbands are like, really? You had to say it, didn't you, man? Never getting an invite back. Because love doesn't mean I'm just going to do what I like to get what I need. Love isn't about how you feel on the receiving end. Love is what we do on the giving end. Love isn't about how this relationship necessarily just makes me feel oh so cool and cozy and wonderful. Love is about how I'm serving and giving to the other person. And I said before, this is really hard because I'm lazy. Sometimes I don't want to sacrifice for my wife. Sometimes I don't want to even do the bare minimum around the house. You know, I used to think that she's acts of service, love language. You've heard of the love languages, anyone? Right, she's acts of service, love language. I think that's the black hole of love languages, to be honest. Never seems to end. But you know, I would be doing things around the house thinking that I'm serving her and loving her and blessing her and filling her tank and that she'd be so, oh, he loves me so much. And I'm like, see what I did? And she's like, that's just not being a jerk housemate. Oh, okay. Here's me thinking I'm sacrificing, I'm just, doing my fair share instead. I love what Tim Keller says about husbands and wives. He says, mutual sacrifice brings mutual fulfillment. Both the husband and the wife are fulfilled by the sacrifices of each other. It's an incredible picture. That's powerful, but the husband goes first. And sacrifice, that's never going to be convenient for you. But this is what we're called to. In the kingdom, we're not called to a convenient life. We're not called to a life that's just filled with comfort and cushiness and pillows everywhere and everyone patting us on the back. It's actually, we're called to a life of inconvenience, a life of service and a life of sacrifice. And you guys do it so well already, I know. Number 3, I'm finishing up. This is a quick one. I'll rush through this one. I'm just kidding. Love is unhurried. Love is unhurried. Love is not in a hurry. It takes its time. We're not like put off by small delays. The other day, I was driving in the Gold Coast airport. You knew this was coming out. And I'm trying to find a petrol station to fill up the bus before I take it back because we had a whole team up in our C3 National Conference and I'm the bus driver. And so this person's trying to get out of the car park here, so I back to let them out. And as they go out, this other person flies right in and takes my spot. And I'm like, oh, for real? Uber driver, Uber sticker on the back. I'm like, how do I report this person? Anyway, and then all of a sudden it just got gridlocked and I'm like, are we going to miss our plane because I need to get some fuel and all this stuff? And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm in a hurry to get fuel and I'm not acting in love. I really wanted, I did beep the horn just once and just quickly, just like brief little just to let her know this is, anyway, I was in a bit of a hurry. Love, real love slows down. You know those friends you've got who you just enjoy spending time with? Slows right down. Love is unhurried. You see those Macca's ads in summer? Oh, Macca's always gets me in summer. Because they have all these ads of all these young adults driving around in these old cool cars, like the old Datsun 120Ys and things like that. And they're at the beach and they're eating all their Maccas on the bonnet and they're laughing and they're spending time together. And I'm like, that's the life I want. This is awesome. I'm going to Macca's, But I love this sense of being unhurried. They're just hanging out. They've got all the time in the world just to spend with one another. It's a beautiful example. Love is unhurried. Who's read a book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer? One person. Get this book into you. 2. Okay, you and me. 3 people in the room. Good. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and I have a friend who listened to it on 1.5 speed. The ruthless elimination of hurry. And I'm like, I don't think you're getting the point, mate. It's all good. John Mark says that his worst moments as a husband and as a father are when he's in a hurry. I agree. Hurry cuts short these moments that we have to connect, to enjoy, to allow the space. You know, like I hate it when we're late for church or late for something because I'm just like, everyone get in the car, get in the car. Woo! My emotions are escalating. This is not going to go well. And I get in the car and I put on some worship music. Here we go. All right. I'm in a hurry. I think we need to slow down. I think hurry keeps us shallow. Hurry keeps our relationships shallow because we don't take the time to truly let that safety and vulnerability open up. Slow down. We've got a regular catch up with friends kind of every 6 to 8 weeks, and we booked it into the calendar for the next 12 months. We booked it into everybody's calendar because I'm like, we've got to make a way of making sure that we're intentional about people who are close to us. And it's just created this ongoing regularity of dinner together that has enabled us to slow down and truly enjoy each other. That way we can have deep fellowship and true connection and real closeness with people. You know, one of the best things you can do if you're a husband or wife is to just debrief the day together. Just every day. Set aside some time. Sit in the lounge. You know, Beck loves, I learned to cook in COVID. I never thought it would happen, neither did she. But now sometimes I'll be cutting up, vegetables for some stir-fry heaven I'm about to make. And she'll come home and I'll just hand her a glass of wine as she walks in the kitchen. She's a very blessed woman. No, this doesn't happen every night. Just not most nights. Occasionally. But if we don't get to do that, we'll just sit on the lounge, beverage of choice, grab a cup of tea, just go and sit on the lounge and chat. How was your day? What happened? And we're just going to debrief the day, and that sets a really great tone for us to then talk and meander and let the conversation kind of roll into other areas of our lives together. If you're writing notes, write this down. Slow down to love well. I think we need to slow down. We say yes to so many things. I find that it's easy to get overcommitted. It's easy to have too much on my plate. It's easy to have so much going on in my life that I can't say yes to the most important things. It's my wife and my kids and people that are good for my soul. So slow down to love well. If we're going to walk in the way of love, it means that we focus on connection, we embrace inconvenience, and we slow down to love well.